Everyone, the new Premier League season is just around the corner. I thought I'd treat you. Batman and Robin. I've got Sunderland's version. I was going to use Ant and Dec, but I thought that's a bad example to give. Anyway, I've got Gilesy and Steve with me. Thank you very much for joining me. Gilesy, let's kick off with yourself. Are you excited?
Like you wouldn't believe. I'm really excited. It's been 8 long years in the waiting, and we're finally back. So I cannot describe how excited I am.
What about yourself, Steve? Are you just as excited, or is there a bit of nerves creeping in yet? How are you feeling?
Well, let's be honest, there's always nerves when you're a Sunderland supporter. It doesn't matter where you are. But yeah, like he says, after 8 long years after what we've been through and watching the club, how we just fell from grace. Well, I wouldn't say from grace, but we fell down rapidly, sunk all the way down. And to watch the transformation and the players progress and how the club's getting bigger and bigger, now to be back where we all believe we belong. Like I said, I cannot wait for Saturday. I really can't. I've been like a kid at Christmas all week.
Yeah, I bet you've been a kid at Christmas during the transfer window as well. Like you spent some money, Steve. Are you happy with the business you've conducted?
I am, yes. I mean, it's hard not to be. I think we've strengthened our full squad. I'll be honest, and I'm sure Chelsea will be the same. Never in a million years did we expect our transfer window to be like this. We expected to do maybe what Ipswich did and buy loads of championship players. But to go out and buy, we've bought young in most cases, but we've got like the captains of the national teams. They've played in the Champions League. They've played in the top level of their respective leagues where they've come from. And I like what we're saying. I mean, I don't judge anything by pre-season because it means nothing. But I like the look of some of the players. And if Reggie can get them playing together, I think we will be a force. I think we'll take a few teams by surprise.
What about yourself, Giles? Are you happy?
Well, me, extremely. Well, Nottingham Forest, they did it. They spent 150 plus million, I think it was, and they managed to just stay up. Now, I think we'll surpass that this window, which, like Steve said, I can't quite believe it. We've always bought young for the future. We've never went out. They've totally broke the model, basically, to when we've got the news that we still. Obviously, they had 2 plans, one for the Championship, one for the Premier League, and obviously this one was really exciting, and I cannot wait till it gets started on Saturday, basically.
And of course, Giles, you've got Arthur Masuaku there now.
I was just going forward. I've seen some of his videos and highlights. Obviously, you kind of take a lot of things from that, like information from highlights, because I always make a player look better than what they actually are. But going forward, he can put a ball into the box, and I know a lot of West Ham fans speak highly of him. I've heard some say they used to call him King
Arthur, yeah.
That's what I thought it was right. But like you were saying, I've seen some of your videos, and you were a bit worried about the way Potter's been setting up, leaving space for the fullbacks, opposition fullbacks. Now, if we start Masuaku, he loves to get forward, so I think he will exploit that space. And our 3 midfield, what Steve were talking about, pre-season, they've shone. You can see the quality that were brought in them 3. Now, Xhaka, our new captain, but got announced today, he's got a really good range of passing, as the same as Diarra and Siddiqui. Now, in transition on the turn, they can get forward, and the range of passing, what they can do, I think West Ham should be a little bit worried because they lack pace in that midfield.
So I think Giles is a bit excited.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, but I'm about to say, what are you smiling at, Steve? It's just his excitement like beaming out of him. Is that
I was waiting for him to take a breath.
I'm so excited.
I love it. I love it. This is what it should be like. And like you said, you've been through it. I still remember, well, everyone does, a Netflix documentary, turned up to film a dream and filmed a nightmare and stuff like that. And I think in a weird way, that documentary captured a lot of football fans' hearts a little bit, because it was hard not to feel your pain when watching it, because we've all been there as a football fan. So I'm enjoying all the excitement coming out of Sunderland at the minute. It's a good thing. If you don't have hope and excitement in football, then what's the point, really?
It's the most loved sport in the world, let's be honest. Like what you said about the Sunderland Till I Die documentary, it reached out to so many different fans. I mean, the Sunderland gained loads of international fans just off that series alone. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, they said that the reason they bought Wrexham was because of Sunderland Till I Die. Even Ricky Gervais, he used to love football when he was younger. Then in 30 years he hated it, and he watched the Sunderland Till I Die, and now he loves football again. So although our friends up the road, like I say, they've seen us crying on Netflix, it's reached out to a wide audience, and it's brought a lot of people towards our club and a lot of people back into football.
Yeah, I found it a lot more pure and raw compared to the Birmingham one that's just come out, which I can't stand. And then the Wrexham one, while they're nice people, it's a little bit puff piece and all shiny and stuff. I prefer the Sunderland nitty gritty and heartache. Makes good entertainment, unfortunately. Steve, is there any other business you're hoping Sunderland do before the window closes?
I think me personally, I think we need another centre half in. I know we've just brought in Alderete from Getafe, but the centre halves we've got. I mean, I love Luke O'Nien. There's a lot of doubts of whether he can handle in the Premiership. I believe he can, but there's a lot of Sunderland fans who don't think he can. Dan Ballard is absolutely superb, and I've got no doubt that he will be able to handle it. However, the issue we've got with the centre halves we've had over the last couple of years is they're made of glass and they get injured very easy. So I'd like another experienced centre half to come in, or a young, like an early 20s one who's got a bit about him, and me personally, an experienced striker. Other than that, I think the business we've done, I'm happy with. I mean, the Granit Xhaka one, I still can't believe we've signed him. I really can't.
Neither can I, to be fair. I think that's like, I keep saying it, but that's like my favourite transfer of the window. I think that's such a coup for you. But I think that experience, like you said, he's already the captain now, but he's so good on the ball as well. And I don't think he gets enough credit. I think people see him as a hothead, but I generally think he matured a lot leaving the Premier League and going to Leverkusen. I think it calmed him down a little bit. So I don't think you're going to see that rash Xhaka anymore. I think you're going to see a much more calmer player in the middle of the pitch, and hopefully it goes well for you. Do you agree with what Steve just said there, Gilesy, or do you think there's a bit more than that?
No, that's the key areas what we needed to strengthen. Maybe a right back, because although our fullbacks can switch sides, I still think we need a right back in, which Trey Hume's just signed a new contract for us as well. He's been outstanding for us. But regarding the striker situation, I'm sure the club rumours that they said we're not looking for a striker now, which is a shame, because personally I would have thought we needed that extra one in. Isidore, can he really cut it in the Premier League? I'm not too sure. Hopefully he can. Mienda, look, at the end of the last season in the Championship, I thought he looks like a Premier League player, but he needs to be more consistent. And throughout pre-season, he hasn't been. So that is a little bit of a worry. But other than that, another centre-half, I do agree with what Steve said.
This is for both of you. I'll let you decide who goes first. What's your biggest worry ahead of the season?
Go on, let you know first, mate.
It's got to be the pace and how much attack we're going to be facing. Because in the Championship, like, you know, we were predominantly the attacking team in most games. But obviously the Premier League is a different kind of fish. It's a faster paced game. And next year we're now up against world class players. Now we know the Championships, it is one of the hardest leagues in Europe. It's the hardest league to get out of. But coming up against the likes of, you know, your Haalands, your Salahs, your Jared Bones, you know what I mean? It's a different kettle of fish. And because we're a young team and we've got a majority young defenders, I know we've brought in a couple of experienced ones now, but we've got a young team. And I just want them to step up to the occasion. And I'm just a bit worried that they might get a bit overwhelmed at first. But I'm hoping that we hit the ground running. Obviously, you're hoping we don't, but I'm hoping we do on Saturday.
What about yourself, Giles? Have you got any big worries?
Well, for me, when Steve was talking about the pace of it, when we brought these new players in, and throughout pre-season, we've started with these new players, and the pace of our game has went up tenfold. So I'm quite at Premier League standard. Only time will tell, obviously. But that's our main priority. Our main worry is the pace of the game. Have we adapted our game to fit the Premier League? That's my only main real worry about it.
Mine was the pace for the defence. The pace we're going to be facing. Not our pace going forward, I'm fine with. It was just our defensive, like the Ballards and the Humes. Because Hume loves a tackle and sometimes he likes to rush in with a tackle before he reads the game properly. But wait, we'll find out soon enough.
For those who perhaps haven't seen much of Sunderland last season, I mean, when I listened to you speaking, I actually think Sunderland were best last season when sitting back a little bit and being able to play counter-attacking football. I actually thought you struggled more up against the sides that respected you a lot and said, oh, Sunderland, we're going to sit back here because obviously halfway through the season, we were right up there. It was a four. I always think people forget it was a 4-horse race, really, you know, up until about New Year. Then I think you dropped off and it became Leeds, Burnley and Sheffield United. But you were up there with them for certainly the first half. And then you went so long without winning a game, but yet you were fourth and you were never in danger of dropping down to fifth or anything like that. And I think that shows just how good a first period you had. And I think when I watched you, the more teams respected you and got a bit more cautious. I thought you struggled more because they were sitting in, and I thought you were struggling a little bit to beat them down. So I actually think whilst, you know, Burnley had the defence last season, I think they're going to struggle to have a good defence in the Premier League because of the teams they come up against. But your style of play, I actually think Burnley's style of play was best for the Championship. I actually think your style of play at the 3 promoted teams is arguably best for the Premier League. So it's almost like switched around 180 for me a little bit. And I think, you know, you talk about your concern about your defence. I think you might find your defence is sitting back quite a lot, that lack of pace may not get exposed too much on a regular. But I do know what you're saying against the quality you're going to come up against. Arne Slot said it. I wasn't aware of it. A Liverpool fan told me he said this, but he said Premier League's unique, that when you come up against, you know, the poorer teams in the Premier League, and if we look at last season with Wolves, they had Ait Nouri and Cunha, now at the 2 Manchester clubs. West Ham had Jared Bowen, Lucas Paqueta, Brazilian international. You had Crystal Palace with, like, at one point we're struggling with likes of Eze in the team. Brentford had Mbomo. You don't really get that in another league. You go up against the team third from bottom in the Netherlands, and the team's generally pretty poor. But in the Premier League, the worst teams are still bloody good and can compete with European football. So it is a big step up, but are you going to do it? That's what I want to know. Steve, we'll start with yourself. Are you going to avoid relegation?
I'm going into this season confident that we will. I'm happy with our transfer business, like was previously mentioned. And also, I think what's going to go in our favour is that we've already been written off. All the pundits and the majority of other like fans from the other football teams, they've got us finishing rock bottom. We're definitely going to get relegated because they're following the pattern of what's happened the last 2 years. So we've got a young squad who are going to be desperate to show what they've got, show what they're all about. And like I say, it's kind of a free hit. No one's expecting us to stay up, so we can just go for it. And like what you said, with the way we play, we're good on the counter. We've got a very fast forward line, fast midfield. So if we can exploit that and use that to our advantage, I think we're going to catch a few teams out this season. And me personally, I do think we're going to stay up.
Love that. Gilesy, you've shared that confidence, or are you a bit more pessimistic?
I'm
or realistic in yours, maybe?
I'm confident, like Steve. I'll be happy with 17th on goal difference, to be brutally honest. But I honestly do believe we can do it. Like we were talking about the way teams are setting up, and I really do believe Reggie has brought in players that are known for quick turn on the transition, like with Siddiqui. For his previous club, he's known for it, and Diarra, his physicality. And I think we've added pace as well. That's the key point. Mienda's fast, Talby as well, and Dingra on the left. So I think we are going to sit in, and we've added an absolutely unbelievable player in Alderete, in that centre-half position, alongside Dan Ballard, who's a unit himself. I think we are going to sit in, but we'll sort that pressure and catch teams on the counter. So we've got some very favourable games coming up in the first 6 games, winnable. Didn't like to see already, obviously, you're playing years on Saturday, but these are teams that we should be taking points from. So if we can get off to a good run, then I think we'll stop up.
I wouldn't say we should be taking points from, but we've got. If you look at our opening fixtures, we couldn't have asked for a better opening set of fixtures.
Don't worry, I think you're going to find most of the subscribers are agreeing with you. Yeah, you probably should be taking points off us. But speaking about my team, West Ham, Gilesy, do you have much of an opinion on us at all?
Well, obviously, it's a well-established Premier League team. You've got some top draw players in, obviously, Bourne, Souček as well, who's an absolute unit, by the way. Then your goal scorers as well. I think they scored, 13 last season, Gerard, and 9 for Souček. Paqueta as well. But the thing is, you lack pace in that midfield. Now, throughout the pre-season, our team, that's where we've been complimentary of our team, is our midfield. The new signings are shining in that position, and they've got pace. So with the way you were saying about Graham Potter and how he's setting up, and you're a little bit worried about the space in the full-back position, I think them players and our pace that we've added will exploit you on Saturday, hopefully.
Do you have much thoughts on us, Steve?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, I quite like West Ham. I was in the army, and one of my best friends was a West Ham supporter, so I used to speak about them quite a lot and watch the games with them. But I'm quite worried about us this season. I think Graham Potter, I think he's overrated as a manager. I think he's one of them managers. He's a bit like David Moyes, where David Moyes did well at Everton, but he couldn't do well anywhere else really. And
he did well.
He did all right, but he did. He got Everton in the Champions League.
Aye.
and then now he's ended up back there. I believe you've lost a few players over the summer, but I'm not sure if who you brought in is going to be enough to strengthen your squad from where you were last season, because you're going to be setting up pretty much very similar to the way you were last season. And like I say, you were one of the lowest goal scorers and conceded one of the most in the league last season. So, I mean, we don't know, obviously every season is a new season, but I am, from what I've seen, how you were towards the back end of last season and what I've seen in the transfer window, I am a bit concerned about you. I mean, I'm sure you will be all right, but I think you will be down there with us involved in the battle.
But just briefly, I like West Ham because of Alex Pritchard. His celebration against Millwall was just class. I'll never forget that.
Brilliant, love that. Right, I'm find a spot because I'm going to put yous on it. Yous are both predicting Sunderland to stay up.
Yep.
So that means at least one Premier League team that was in the league last year is going down. Is it going to be West Ham?
No. I'll tell you, in my honest opinion, there's two teams who were in the Premier League last season who were getting relegated this year.
Go on then.
And that's Wolves and Brentford. They're going down with Burnley. That's my prediction.
Have you got one?
But Brentford have lost too many of their key players, and they've lost the manager. And Wolves have lost key players, and they haven't replaced them. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for Cunha, Wolves would have went down last season, because they went on a 9-game winning streak or something, or unbeaten streak towards the end of the season, which kept them in it. And I think this season is. I think, as much as I hate Leeds, I think it'll be us and Leeds that stay up, and I think Brentford and Wolves are doomed.
He's an unwanted team. Well, me personally, I believe that it'll be Brentford what they bite the bullet and gone down. When Frank went to Spurs, he took everything, he left the kitchen sink, and he appointed him the manager. I just didn't rate him as a manager. Obviously, they've Whistler's down Tools, the goal scorer. They've sent Bremwood and Manu, who's the goal scorer. And I just think they've sent too many of their key players, and they will suffer. And we'll steal.
Well, I hope you're right about us staying up. To be fair, I hope you're right about you staying up as well. I'd like to see Sunderland do it. I think it's important that at least one of you stay up. But if I had to choose, it would be Sunderland. I also think if the three promoted teams get off to a bit of a tough start, I think your fan base is more likely to stick with them. I think the Leeds fans are more likely to turn quicker and say, hang on a minute, we're Leeds, we should be doing better than this. And whereas I think you will stick with your team and stick with your manager. And I just feel like that home crowd could be quite important. Now, when Ellen Road gets going, it's absolutely rocking. There's no doubt about that. But I think Leeds can be a bit like us, which is when it's not going very well, they let you know about it. They're quite vocal. And I think that when you get off to, if you do get off to a tough start, I think that could be quite pivotal in the two different sort of clubs. So I think you'll do it as well. Right then, Saturday afternoon, Stadium of Light. How do you see this one going? I've got a feeling I know what you're going to say. You're both feeling confident. You're certainly optimistic. Were you teetering on confident?
I think maybe we can be found guilty of being maybe a bit overconfident, but I think that might be the excitement running into it. But like I say, because we've got a young team and we're finally back after this 8-year wait, the stadium's going to be absolutely bumped, and obviously it's a sellout. The atmosphere is going to be great. The players have got a lot to prove from the start, and West Ham, like I said, I don't think he's improved much over the summer. So I mean, I am thinking we're going to win. Now, bear with us with the scoreline. It might be just exciting, but I've got my prediction of Sunderland to win 3-0.
Bloody hell. I thought you were going to go for a win. I didn't know it would be that big. What about yourself? You going to go 3-0 as well? Are you feeling confident?
Well, that's what the Premier League supercomputer predicted, 3-0. No, for me personally, I think what you were just saying earlier regarding fans' expectation. Now, Sunderland, us fans have learnt the hard way last season. Apart from me, yeah, we were in agreement. The end of the season, we rested key players, and they were all talking about we've got to bridge a 24 gap to Leeds and Burnley. No, that's nonsense. We rested a lot of key players once we cemented fourth, and we lost a lot of games, but we're prepared for the playoffs. Now, I think Sunderland fans realise there we've got to be patient. And like Steve said, there's no expectation of us. There's like a freedom with the Sunderland players. Like everybody's got us to get relegated, so they can go out there and express themselves. So for me personally, I think we will win on Saturday, but it'll be a bit closer. I think it'll be 2-1.
Love that. Absolutely love that. I think the expectation thing's true. When I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and it was like an early prediction thing, but instead of doing like a league table, because it was so early, I did like a tier list. I just had like, title race, European football. safe, and then relegation battle. And I put West Ham in there, but I also put Sunderland there, but I also put Leeds in there. And I also had Brentford and Wolves. Believe it or not, the biggest backlash I got in the comments was from Leeds fans going, "What are you talking about? We're going to be like 10th or 12th." I was genuinely surprised at how confident they were. And I was a bit like, well, I think 17 I would see as a success for Leeds, just staying up. But your fans, you are just, I'll take 17, happy day. I think there's a big difference with expectation as well. And I think if you expect 10th as a newly promoted team, you're almost guaranteed to be disappointed to some extent. Whereas yourselves, you just stay up, please.
Leeds fans, they have to be careful what they wish for, because they've just signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin, what's made of glass. So I kind of see him getting the goals, what's going to get them to 10th, to be honest.
And also the manager as well. The manager's been fanned up before. He kind of acted in the Premier League, a bit like Burnley with Scott Parker. Now, I know our manager's never been in the Premier League, but that could be an advantage to us. I think either the Leeds or the Burnley manager will be the first one to get sacked this season.
Yeah, your chairman didn't look to replace your manager in the summer either. That's a significant difference between yourself and Leeds. So, but listen, Gilesy, Steve, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you guys at home would like to see and hear more from these two, I'll put the link to their channel in the description below. But do go give them a follow if you fancy keeping up with Sunderland this season. Best of luck for the season, and hopefully I can catch up with you before the game later on in the season at the London Stadium, and we can have a bit more of a, well, I say positive. It's me that's not been positive. Hopefully I can be feeling positive. But thank you so much. You guys at home enjoyed it. Please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Scouting Damage Chat. I'll catch you in a bit.
All the best.